My partner confessed to an affair right before our wedding. I never expected that the days leading up to my wedding, what should have been one of the happiest moments of my life, would turn into a nightmare. Everything had been going smoothly, or so I thought. The plans were in place, the invitations had been sent, and our families and friends were all excited to gather and celebrate the union of two people in love. But just days before the wedding, my partner dropped a bombshell that shattered my world. They confessed to having an affair. It happened on an evening that seemed like any other. We were sitting together, going over the final details of the wedding, when I noticed something was off. There was a heaviness in the air, and my partner seemed distant, as if they were carrying the weight of something they couldn't bear any longer. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just pre-wedding jitters. But then, out of nowhere, they said, "I need to tell you something." In that moment, my stomach dropped. My mind raced with possibilities, but nothing could have prepared me for what they were about to say. "I've been seeing someone else," they confessed, their voice shaking. "It's been going on for a while, but it's over now. I ended it because I want to be with you, and I didn't want to go into our marriage with this secret." I sat there in stunned silence, my heart pounding in my chest. An affair? Before our wedding? How long had this been going on? Who was the other person? A million questions flooded my mind, but I couldn't speak. It felt like my world had suddenly been flipped upside down. As the shock set in, I managed to ask, "Why? Why did you do this?" My voice was barely a whisper, a mix of disbelief and heartbreak. My partner looked down, unable to meet my eyes. They explained that it had started during a rough patch in our relationship, a time when we were both stressed with wedding planning and life in general. But none of that felt like a valid reason to me. We had been together for years, and despite the ups and downs, I had always thought we were solid, committed. I had trusted them completely. And now that trust was shattered. They went on to explain that the affair had been physical, not emotional, and that it had ended weeks ago. They insisted that it was a mistake, that they had realized how much they loved me, and that they wanted to spend the rest of their life with me. That was why they had confessed. To start our marriage with honesty, they said. But to me, the timing couldn't have been worse. We were days away from promising forever to each other, and now I was questioning everything. The rest of the conversation is a blur. I remember feeling a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. How could they do this to me? How could they betray me right before what was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives? I had envisioned a future with this person, built a life with them, and now it all felt tainted. I didn't know what to do. My first instinct was to call off the wedding, to throw everything away and walk out the door. How could I marry someone who had been unfaithful, someone who had lied to me for months? But at the same time, a part of me hesitated. Was it possible to forgive them? Could we still salvage what we had built? I spent the next few days in a haze, trying to figure out what to do. I thought about the years we had been together, the love we had shared, and the future we had planned. But I also couldn't shake the image of my partner with someone else, the betrayal that cut me so deeply. The thought of standing in front of all our friends and family, exchanging vows, knowing what had happened, it felt impossible. I talked to a few close friends, seeking advice. Some told me to leave, that I deserved better than someone who would cheat on me right before our wedding. Others urged me to consider the confession itself. After all, they had come clean before the wedding, not after. But that didn't feel like enough. The timing of the confession didn't erase the hurt. It didn't make the affair disappear. Finally, I confronted my partner again. I needed answers, closure. I needed to know why they had chosen to tell me now, and why they thought I could still go through with the wedding. They told me they didn't want to start our marriage with lies. They said they had made a terrible mistake, but had realized that I was the person they truly wanted to be with. They begged for my forgiveness, promising that it would never happen again. But I couldn't help wondering, if they were capable of betraying me once, what would stop them from doing it again? How could I trust them after this? How could I trust anyone? The decision weighed heavily on me. I loved this person, or at least I thought I did. But love didn't feel like enough in that moment. Love didn't erase the betrayal, the pain, the doubt. I had to think about what was best for me, not just what I wanted our relationship to be. I spent countless hours reflecting on our relationship, thinking about the future we had envisioned together. And then I thought about myself, about the life I wanted, the respect I deserved, and the kind of relationship I needed to be truly happy. In the end, I knew I couldn't go through with the wedding. I couldn't stand in front of everyone and pretend like everything was fine, like this enormous betrayal hadn't happened. The foundation of our relationship had been shaken, and I didn't know if it could ever be rebuilt. I called off the wedding, and although it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, it was also the right one. The days and weeks that followed were a roller coaster of emotions. I felt heartbroken, angry, and at times deeply lonely. But I also felt a sense of relief. I had taken control of my life, made a decision that honored my worth. I didn't deserve to start my marriage with a lie, with the weight of betrayal hanging over us. My partner reached out several times after that, asking for another chance, pleading for forgiveness. But I knew in my heart that things could never go back to the way they were. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild, and I wasn't sure I could ever trust them again. Looking back now, I realized that walking away from the wedding wasn't just about the affair. It was about choosing myself. It was about recognizing that I deserved better, that I deserved a partner who respected and valued me, who wouldn't put our relationship at risk for a moment of weakness. I've learned that healing takes time and trust can't be rebuilt overnight. But I've also learned that sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that lead to the most growth. It wasn't easy to let go of the life I had planned with my partner, but in doing so, I opened myself up to the possibility of something better, something built on trust, respect, and honesty. As painful as it was to face that betrayal, I'm grateful for the strength it revealed in me. I'm stronger now, more confident in my ability to stand up for myself and demand the kind of love and partnership I deserve. And while the road to healing hasn't been easy, I know that in time I'll be ready to embrace whatever comes next. On my terms and with a heart that's learned its worth.